Hi everyone. Today we will deal with nested if else conditions, nested if ladder, and then later on we can move on to the loops. Okay, we'll start. So in this case, in the nested if else statement, imagine that we have been given three numbers A, B, and C, and we have to find the maximum of these three numbers. Then what do? We take the input from the user, and either we use a logical operator to say that if A is greater than B and A is also greater than C, then we are printing A is greater. Otherwise, if we are using nested if else, then there will be a little bit changes. Just if we have one if else statement inside another, we usually call it as nested if else statement. Okay. So in this, I think in the previous class you had already studied it using the logical operator, so I'll not iterate that. I'm going to go ahead with the nested if else. Okay. So the first part is I'm going to declare two variables int a comma b. I'm going to ask the user to enter the values. Then once we take the values from the user, the next one is we need to take three values. Sorry. So we have taken three values. So first thing is we are going to check if a is greater than b. If this condition is true, then obviously amongst a and b, a is greater. Correct? If it is going to come to the else statement, it means that this condition is false. If this condition is false, then what is the bigger element? B is the bigger element. So if it comes inside this else case, then we can say B is greater. Now, which is the left out element? C. Because A and B you have compared, you already got to know A is greater, hence you are here. So here I'm going to check if A is also greater than C. We already know that A is greater than B. So A is greater. We are checking if A is greater than C as well. If that is the case, we can very well say that A is greater or max element. Otherwise, else amongst A and B, A is greater, hence you are here. You have checked with C as well. A is less than C, hence what we can do. If this condition is a false statement, that means C is the bigger one. So C out, C is greater element. Okay. So in this case, we have addressed if A is greater than B and if A is also greater than C, then A is greater. If this is a false statement, then C is greater. I'm going to copy this and paste it here. In this case, we already know that B is greater. We are going to check if B is also greater than C. If that is the case, then B is greater, otherwise C is greater. So this is one if else statement inside another if else case. So we can call it as a nested if else. So if I'm going to save this one, so I'll be giving 11, 23, 1. So 23 is the greatest element. So if I give value 23, 11, 4, again 23 is highest. If I'm going to give 11, 42, 89, 89 should be the greater element, which you are getting it. Okay. Now, if we are going ahead with if ladder, so in that case, it will be just nested if. It is also called as if ladder. That means you will not have any else statement. You'll just have a couple of if statements within nested into one if statement. Okay. So here what I can do for these kind of stuff. First you ask the user to enter the percentage. And no, first we will ask the user to enter the age. If the age is above 18, then we will ask him to enter the percentage. And if the percentage is greater than, let us say 60 or something, he is eligible for placements, otherwise he is not. Now, if this is the set of condition that I have to write, first I have to ask the user to enter the age and percentage. So here I can give this. Okay. In this case, what I'm going to do is if age is greater than 18, okay, and if percentage is greater than 60, I can see out a statement as eligible. Okay. Otherwise, I'm not going to print anything. I'm just going to use only if these two conditions are met, I'm going to print eligible. If it is not 18, I don't care. If it is not less than greater than 60, then I'm not going to print anything. So what you are having, one if statement inside another if statement. So if this keeps on continuously growing, like multiple if statements, one inside another, then we call it as if ladder. We'll run this. So we have age 12 if I give and then 90 as the percentage, then it is not printing anything. If I'm going to give age as 20 and percentage as 56, it will not print anything. It should be age should be greater than 18 as well as percentage should be greater than 60. So if I'm going to give 22 and if I'm going to give 89, eligible. Okay. So this is about nested if conditions. Now, if we have to go ahead with loops, I'll go ahead with while loops, while loop. So in this, what is going to happen is if there is something that has to be repetitively printed, okay, something that is done continuously, like if I have to print between 1 to 10, okay, I can say C out 1, C out 2, C out 3, and so on, but that becomes a tedious task. Imagine if I have to print between 1 to 1 lakh, it becomes a long procedure. So instead of that, I can use some loops. Now, what does loop require? First, initialize a particular variable. So I'll take int I is equal to, if I want to print between 10 to 20, I'll initialize I as 10. In the loop, I need to provide a particular condition. If the condition is true, only then I'm going to do what? Print it. Print what? Print I. So I'm going to print I. So 10 is getting printed. Till when? Sorry, print I. Till when this should be printed? Till I becomes equal to 20. So if I is less than or equal to 20, till this condition is true, we are going on printing I value. But what happens here? I is equal to 10, is 10 less than 20, true, less than or equal to 20, true. We printed 10, but we didn't increment or anything. Again, when it goes back to this condition, I will not change. I will still be 10. So this becomes an infinite loop. So instead, what I have to do, I have to increment or decrement the value. Here, in this case, the suitable thing is increment. What will happen when you give I plus plus? Initially, I will be 10. 10 is less than or equal to 20 is true. 10 gets printed. I will become 11. Next iteration. 11 less than or equal to 20 is true. 11 gets printed, becomes 12. This keeps on happening till 20. The moment I becomes 21, 21 less than or equal to 20 is false. You come out of the loop. So if I'm running this, you're getting the output. Now, what is the speciality about the while loop? In the while loop, you cannot have, um, sorry, this particular block will be executed minimum zero number of times. What do you mean by zero number of times? Imagine my I value is 40. Is 40 less than or equal to 20? No, it will never execute this block. So the minimum number of times it will execute is what? Zero. Only if the condition is true, only then it is going to execute the set of statements. Okay. We have initialization, we have condition check. First, the condition is checked. If it is true, only then you are going to print something and then you're going to increment the value. Okay, this keeps happening till you come to a position where the variable I becomes bigger than 20. Okay, if the same thing has to be written in the for loop, then the syntax of the for loop will be something like this. First initialization, then check, condition check, and then the incrementation or decrementation operator. So here what I'm going to do for I is equal to 10, I less than or equal to 20, I plus plus. I will not initialize it, I'll just declare this. This is not necessary. Now this is a for loop. What is happening? You declared I, you can declare int I inside the loop itself. I is initialized to 0, sorry, 10. This happens in the very first time. First time when you're entering, it happens. Then what you're going to check? You're going to check whether 10 is less than or equal to 20. It is true. So 20, 10 gets printed. Then nothing else is left out in the for loop. So you will increment it. When it increments, it becomes 11. 11 less than or equal to 20, true. 11 gets printed, 12, 13, 14, so on up to 20. When it becomes 21, 21 less than or equal to 20 is false. So you're going to come out of the loop. This is another way of writing. What happens if I give it as 30? I equal to 30. 30 less than or equal to 20 is false. So it will never enter inside the loop. This, when you compare this with the while loop, even in while loop, you check the condition first and then you executed the body of the loop. Here also, you check the condition first and then you will be executing the body of the loop. Here, it will not get executed because this condition fails. Okay, minimum number of execution cycle is 0. Then we will go for do while loop. This is a little different. In while and for loop, you would check the condition first. In do while loop, first you will just print whatever is there. I'm going to give it as 10 or something. It'll come and it'll execute this particular body. I'm going to increment this, let us say. Here, you have to write the while loop. While, let us say, I is less than or equal to 20. What happens here? And a semicolon. No matter whether this condition is true or false, minimum number of times this loop will execute is once. I'll show you how. First, we have given I is equal to 10. So 10 will be printed. Then I will become 11. 11, is it less than or equal to 20? True. Then it goes back and then 11 is printed, 12 is printed, 13, 14, 15, so on up to 20 is printed. When 20 is printed, this becomes 21. 21 less than or equal to 20 is false. We're going to come out. So in this case, you can get 10 to 20. Now, if I make this as 50, 50 is less than or equal to 20 is false, but this condition is checked only after you finish your do loop. That means minimum one time it is going to get executed. What will it print? It will print 50. So if you run this, see, whether the condition is pass or fail, minimum number of times this is going to get executed is once. In while and for loop, you had only zero number of times because if the condition is not true, because it is getting checked in the beginning, the body of the loop will only execute if it is true. Here, even if it is not true, and because to reach this while loop, we have to go through this. So minimum number of times it will execute is 1. Okay.